right, folks, we are here with a BEG Wrestling exclusive. Yeah, that's right. And when I say we are here, I mean the first media day for the 2023-24 Penn State wrestling team. That's right. That's right. We were there, folks, and we had the opportunity to ask Cale Sanderson 2 questions, okay? Now, these were not normal questions, all right? These were hard-hitting questions. That's what we do here on BEG Wrestling, folks. Hard-hitting questions, and let me tell you something. We will be having a full breakdown of Cale's response to the second question that I had, and which was the final question for Cale at Media Day. It was the longest response that Cale has ever given to any question. It's a roller coaster ride, folks, okay? I don't know, 6-7 minutes long. It's a roller coaster ride. I mean, we literally go back in history. At one point. I mean, we travel back in history, folks. So, BEG Wrestling exclusive here, okay? First of many to come, folks. Just subscribe to the channel. I mean, that's all we're asking. Subscribe to the channel, but I'm telling you, and we've been saying it, BEG Wrestling is here, folks. I hope you enjoy.
Yeah, Zach with BEG Wrestling. Recently on our show, we did a Penn State pie chart of success in which we attributed 15% of that success to Bonnie, the team psychologist. My question would be, would you say 15% is accurate? And who was your Bonnie growing up?
Bonnie was my Bonnie. Yeah, I'm trying to get past the pie piece. You can't say pie. And only 15% of a pie. That's not a lot of pie. But, Bonnie's been great for us. I met her when I was finishing up my competitive career. And then when I was coaching at Iowa State, we had people kind of communicating with her, back and forth on the phone. And she did an awesome job. And she was just somebody that made a difference. And so when we had the opportunity to bring her here, we jumped on it. And the rest is history. But yeah, she's part of the family, part of the staff, and she does a great job. Some kids use her, some kids don't. It's just like every other resource. We just want to make sure our kids have all the best resources, and then they can do what they want with them. But yeah, she's been a great blessing. She's not she's pretty a straight shooter. She's going to tell you what you probably don't want to hear, but maybe need to hear, and then that works for some people. It should work for everybody, but it doesn't, right? So, but if you want help, she's there to help you, and she's done a great job.
One more.
Gail, I have a question. Regarding the media, I mean, in general, do you like the media? And do you feel that you have any responsibility to the media to help grow the sport of college wrestling? Or are you just solely focused on the Penn State program here?
When I grew up, I focus on what my goals are, right? When I was an athlete, my dad used to kind of always say, hey, whether you win or lose, the media's got a story. So, I always, when I was going through college, didn't read anything, didn't pay attention to anything, because my goal wasn't to be in the paper. My goal was to reach my goals. And it's the same thing in coaching. I work for Penn State. I work for Pat Kraft. I think that we've done a lot of really good things for the sport of wrestling. I think the culture of wrestling has changed over the last 15 years, and the perspective. I mean, you hear a lot of positivity. The word gratitude gets used a lot, right? I mean, training has changed significantly from the times I was training. So I think we've done a lot of really good things for the program. And we're going to continue to build and represent the sport in the best way that we can. Does us being more available to the media, does that grow the sport? I don't know. I mean, maybe that's somebody's opinion, right? I mean, I just think I think wrestling is, now I'm kind of going to go off on a little bit here, but I think wrestling is the world's oldest sport, right? I mean, I mean, that you look up what's the world's oldest sport on Google, and it's going to say wrestling, maybe boxing, and so with that being said, I think those are just things we have to embrace. I think and celebrate. Wrestling's a tough sport, right? Like right now, we just changed some rules where they're trying to eliminate mat wrestling, essentially, where that's who we are. That's what we do. Why? Because it's hard to get off the bottom. Because somebody's grabbing your ankle, you can't get up. I don't think anyone in here would admit, or you shouldn't admit, that you can't get up off the bottom because somebody's grabbing your ankle, right? So instead of just embracing that, hey, wrestling's tough, I think we should have less rules, not more, right? Say there's no stalling at all. The people out here in Rec Hall would enjoy that. Like if you choose to drop down into the fetal position on bottom, that'd be fun. And now you because the kids just always are going to adapt to the rules, right? So I really love the core values of our sport, what it teaches. I think it parallels life, probably more than any sport. And I love all sports, but I think we should just as a sport embrace those things, not move away from them. Say, oh man, these guys they're having to work hard now to get off the bottom. Like, well, that's good. That's what the sport's all about. So some of those kind of things. And we're trying to adapt and adjust to the rules. And there's going to be less mat wrestling, right, by design, but it's just kind of a tricky thing. I think the more subjectivity, the harder it is for fans to watch, right? I think the easier it is. This is the oldest sport in the world. What is it? Takedowns, control, and pins, right? And so you focus on those three things. Anybody can turn on wrestling and watch it. When you start adding more and more rules, and now the ref and their subjectivity is a big part of the match. Like who wants that? Nobody does. And everywhere you wrestle, things are gonna be called differently. Like if you're wrestling a Rec Hall, it's gonna be called differently than the match down the street. And then this stuff just doesn't make sense to me. So I think there's a lot of things as a sport we could do to grow the sport. I think the first thing is just to embrace who we are, right? What are our core values? If our rules don't support our core values and what we stand for, and I think it's my responsibility to get up off the bottom. That's what life teaches you, right? You get knocked down, you get back up. You don't wait. When Jacob or whoever it was that was wrestling an angel in the Bible, there wasn't a stalemate, or there wasn't a hey, blow the whistle and this guy's stalling back on your feet. You wrestle. So I think the more we really celebrate what the core values of wrestling are, I think this sport will continue to grow as we continue to shift and make little rule changes, trying to make things easier for our kids. Maybe, but yeah, I don't know. I'm probably never going to change, as far as because my focus is on the kids in my program and helping them be the best they can be, right? That's what even social media. I used to enjoy messing around and kind of tinkering around on social media just with your friends, but I got on social media once this summer to contact a kid that was going to come work out in our club, and I didn't even look to see if he responded. And that was like 3 months ago. Like I don't want any part of that stuff. I don't want to set that example to our kids. I want to do the opposite, right? I want to help them reach their goals in wrestling. That's what I do, and so we'll continue to do that. But I don't know what I just said.
It's on tape.
But yeah, I just think as a sport's exciting. We should celebrate what makes this sport special, right? And I think that's that it's tough, and it's about you competing and taking ownership for what you're doing. If you can't get off the bottom, go work on it, figure it out. We don't need to change the rules, I don't think, but the 3-point rule is awesome, and the other rule where the reviews actually review the whole situation, that's an awesome rule change. Because if like in the past, if a ref called a takedown 1 second too early or 2 seconds too early and they go back and review it, they completely stop the action before the takedown. So you're punishing kids for the mistake of a referee, that should never happen. And it happened a lot. A lot of big matches were lost because a referee called something a little earlier, and that's tough. We're putting a lot on the refs. We're making their jobs a lot harder. It shouldn't be that hard. And anybody should be able to flip on the TV and see wrestling and see, takedowns, pins, control. Everything else is whatever. So, but yeah, we're excited for the year. We appreciate y'all being here, and have some fun.
All right. All right, let's head down to the room. We've got about 25 minutes to bring some guys out.